it's all ridiculous. It's not that, being a Muslim isn't ridiculous, but being a Jew is. Everything's ridiculous. Being a Catholic's ridiculous. Being a Protestant's ridiculous. Being a Baptist is ridiculous. Being a Buddhist is ridiculous. Being in anything is ridiculous. You attach yourself and your mind to any ideology, you're going to be on a road. And that road may or may not lead you in a good direction. But you're going to stay on that fucking road if you're attached to an ideology. And it could be a terrible road. It could be a road of, circumcising your daughter's clitoris because that's a fucking tradition. I mean, these fucking crazy bitches in Africa that cut holes in their lip and stretch them out to put plates on. Why is that? Because they got on a fucking road. They stuck with that road, regardless of rational thinking. They didn't use rational thinking at all. They just adapted a predetermined pattern of behavior that makes life so much more simple. And that's what every fucking religion is. The problem is no one knows. You cannot know. You can have your own beautiful personal experiences. You could have been the person that was actually touched by God. And it's not that, yoga's the answer or fucking mushrooms are the answer. There's just questions. The human race is stuck in a giant quagmire when it comes to our behavior and our thinking about our behavior. And until we're honest about that, we're never going to evolve. For a lot of people, man, religion can give you some inspiration, but there comes a certain point in time where you have to pop the training wheels off. And you have to recognize that all this morality that you've developed is good because it's good to treat other people good. It's good to treat other people the way you would like to be treated yourself. It's like a fucking golden rule, and there's a reason for it. And that reason is that we're connected in some strange way that we don't totally understand. And unless you are good to other people around you, unless you're kind and friendly and warm and loving, you're not going to fucking enjoy this life. You're just not. You're going to be problems everywhere you go. You're going to have problems everywhere you go. You got to figure out a way to enjoy this fucking life. It's not because of Jesus. It's not because of Moses. It's not because of anybody that may or may not have ever existed. It's because that's how you fit in better in the world. That's how you stay positive. And it doesn't have to be some shit that was written 5,000 years ago on fucking animal skins. That doesn't have to be the golden rule because it's old. That's dumb. We need to figure out, like, now, today, what is, the best way to live your life? What is the, there's got to be ways where you can be putting forward the most positive energy. I mean, we know objectively what's causing pollution. We know objectively what's causing birth defects and, we're taking in too much chemicals and not enough vitamins. We know objectively all this stuff. We know how to organize our world, and yet we don't do it. We know how to organize our health, and yet very few people do it. We know all these things. The right path to being a happy, healthy person is to do all the shit that we already know you're supposed to do. Take care of your body, take care of your health, take care of your mind, your stress, meditate, be kind to people. We all know that. I mean, you ask anybody, they know how to get by and to be the most evolved version of you that you can be. Healthy foods in your body, many, many vegetables. Vegetables, a lot of good quality protein, a lot of water. Stop the sodas, stop the bullshit, start working out your body and get a better sense of how this machine feels when it's moving, it's flowing better, there's less tension in it, your mind feels relaxed and you enjoy every single moment of the day better. Step one, everybody knows that step, right? What's step two? Be cool to people. Be nice to as many people as you can. Smile at as many people as you can. Have them smile back at you. Tip well when you go to restaurants. Just do the most you can. What else? Do what you want to do with your life, right? Don't go be doing something you don't enjoy. Don't do something don't get locked into doing something crazy because you need the money. Don't do that. Do what you want to do. Do what the fuck is it that you really want to do? Because if someone else is doing it, you can do it. I mean, everybody makes their own path through this world, but a lot of people don't follow the path that they really fucking feel pulled to. Just for whatever reason, they got negative programming. When they were kids, someone told them they couldn't do it, or told them to take the shortcut, or take the short route. That's a sad thing, man. When you talk to dudes, especially talented dudes, and they don't follow up with what they want to do.
clear to me that, do you know what I believe in? On an individual level and on a cultural level, if something is possible, you should be trying to fucking do it. So as soon as people realise, hold on a minute, that's having a negative impact, or hey, this is a better way of using our resources and our utilities, as soon as you realise it, you should be moving towards it. They say wisdom is acting on knowledge. Once you've recognised, oh, fossil fuels are running out, it's like, right, fucking hell, we better start working on the basis that we're fucked. We better start looking at alternative energy sources, we better look at different alliances, you just say, like, knowing those things and not doing them, it makes me very, very uneasy, because it makes me think
now that it's an infinite cycle of birth and death, and the universe is constantly expanding and contracting, and this is the process that we're a part of. It's infinite, and it's never started, and it's never ending. It goes on and on and on.
I think you're probably bloody right, mate. Yeah. But like that idea that you just espoused is in 5,000-year-old fucking documents.
Yes.
Like called the Upanishads. Those ideas are there already. So it's somewhere between this woo-woo craziness and the kind of a flat, mundane, look, this is life, you're born, you die, you eat food, shit comes out your arsehole territory. Somewhere in there is a mystery that they're behind your eyes, behind Jimbo Jamie's eyes and my eyes, there is a constant, there is this consciousness, there is this awareness, there's this inexplicable experience that you've had on DMT, experiences that I've had through yoga and through LSD, that suggests to me that consciousness itself is the dominant force. Consciousness is not just one more phenomena, it is the seat of all phenomena. And when people are saying, oh, there's this thing that's God, what they are saying is there is an absolute consciousness and all is contained within it. All matter at some point has come from consciousnness. These realms that are experienced through psychedelic or extreme, personal experiments like your cryogenic things or your flotation tanks all suggest a phenomenon beyond individual consciousness. There's something else there, and the very fact that that it's in for the consciousness, even by the process of measuring, is influencing and impacting reality. I don't think that I'm not taking that to the extremes. I know what you mean, mate. Some people go, oh, that means your mind can control shit. I mean, I don't think it means that. It means that reality is only reality when you look at it. That's what it's kind of getting towards. I said once in my stand-up, as a matter of fact, my cat doesn't know there's an internet. The internet does not enter the realm of my cat's consciousness, but the fucking internet's out there. We're out here having all these fucking experiences, and all those realms that we're experiencing in these various sort of psychedelic states, or however they're achieved, is an indication to me that there's another reality. Now, where does that become fucking relevant to what we're talking about? For me, where it does is one of the continual ideas that keeps re-emerging to connect us back to where we were with Joe Campbell at the beginning is there is this fucking sense of oneness and believing ourselves to be individual and believing that the dominant thing in our lives to be material. That fucks us up because people will kill each other over that material. And once we sort of realise, no, the true thing about us is the consciousness, is the inner self. That's the real thing. Now, we're all out here, we're all in the game, we're all going to do shit and we're all going to make mistakes. But let's not have the material idea as the dominant social idea, because everyone's agreed with that, whether they're communists or capitalists or fascists or whatever. Everyone's saying, no, the main thing is this shit that's out here. And it's like that connects to those primal drives, because that if that taps into your sexual drive, you can never have enough pussy. If that gets into your status drive, you can never have enough status and power. So we're all going to still feel those things. I'm still going to be a cunt 25 times a day, but it would be nice if the cultural ambience was, oh, don't worry, Russell, you'll be back to your normal self in a minute, of feeling that we're all one and we're all connected. Not, yeah, well, of course I feel like that. Like that. And that's what frightens me about the culture of our countries at the moment, is it's endorsing the worst aspects of our nature. It's acculturating the worst aspects of our nature instead of the best aspects of our nature. And for me, there's no fucking difference between left and right in the current political sphere, because they're all making the same argument. They're all saying, come and live out here in the material world.
Yeah, it seems to me that the material world and this idea that we should be accumulating possessions and status and all these different things is universal. It almost seems like it's a natural progression from ancient tribal civilization life to this weird city life to this integration of electronics in our life and this symbiotic relationship that we have to computers and the internet and information itself. It seems like this is one of the things that drives that is this desire for material possessions. Because when you have a desire for material possessions, it ensures that you're going to continue to innovate and come up with newer and greater and better. Yeah. Because you always want to keep up with the Joneses. You always want to have the newest Tesla because it goes 0 to 60 in 2 seconds. And you want to have the coolest fucking house with the biggest TV and the fastest internet. And all those things sort of compound this technological innovation cycle that we're on. So my thought has been for a long time that what we are is some sort of an electronic caterpillar that's going to give birth to some artificial life, and that all of our desire for material possessions and status and all these different things is really just us pushing forth this electronic agenda, and that this innovation and the construction of artificial intelligence that's inevitable is eventually going to be the next stage of life, and that we're like huddling ourselves up in this sort of civilization cocoon, and that boom, out of that cocoon is going to pop some sort of a god being. And that this is what we're here for, and this is what we've been doing since we were monkeys, flinging shit at each other and flipping over cow patties looking for mushrooms. That we are a part of a process. And then if you look at it objectively, all these traps that you or I or Tom Cruise or Jim Brewer have been caught up in, whether it's traps of ego or jealousy, all these things sort of ensure movement. They ensure movement, they ensure interactivity, and that is going to ensure innovation and progress and competition. And all those things that even when we look at it, we go, this is so pointless, this is so foolish, this is so, but yet it's so incredibly prevalent. Not glorifying it or saying it's definitely the way to go, but objectively, if you weren't a human and you're stepping outside of this thing, looking at it from a distance, you're like, these fuckers are making something. They might not even know they're making something, but they're making something.
I understand, like the same way that bees or ants may not be aware of the hive consciousness and the common drives. But where I disagree with you, Joe, is that you see the end point as being the materialization of a super consciousness through technology. I see the end point as being a realization amongst us as a species. Now I know that
could be both. It could be both.
But what was my point there? God,
I think you want to pump the brakes. What you're saying is we should pump the brakes. We should pump the brakes of this possession and this idea that we're trying to accomplish these great things by accumulating things and status, and it's all bullshit. And it's really about consciousness more than anything.
If we looked at our common drives, it's like like Hancock all the time. I've heard him on your show saying like that. That what's happened is a bias towards a particular aspect of our own consciousness, the problem-solving brain, and there's those drives are amazing. Those drives, they're trying to get us somewhere. Technology is amazing. The very fact that people bloody hear us, I don't understand any of it. It's fucking wonderful. But the dominant idea behind it, one of profit, that dominating idea, and profit in itself is not necessarily negative, but profit at all costs, profit at any cost. So really, I'm not saying we should as a species fucking slow down and dress in felt and fucking grow our own vegetables. There's no fun in that. I want human beings to be glorious. But what I'm saying is that our bias towards this one particular materialistic idea is preventing us from realizing that glory, because
the first time I had a mushroom trip, I was with my friend Eddie, and we were near a mountain. It was like a very high hill. We were below it, and we were laying down in the grass, just laughing and giggling. And I don't know if you've ever been like lying down, looking up at a mountain range, and you see the sky and the clouds go overhead. It was the first time, I think, in my life that I really took in the concept of an atmosphere, of the shape of the earth being round, and that behind that atmosphere, I'm looking up at this blue sky, it's beautiful, but I didn't see the blue sky anymore. I saw it, I knew it was there, but I realized that it's just this layer, and then beyond that is the vast infinity of space. And I remember looking at it and thinking for the first time, because of this hill, I could see, I'm like, oh my God, we're like in a convertible spaceship. Like, this whole thing is a spaceship. Like, this is an illusion. We're standing here like we're on ground. We're laying down on the grass, looking up at the sky. But this is not sky. This is a thin layer of atmosphere that's protecting you from space. And then above that there's no end to it. And it fucking stuck in my head, that idea, like, for the very first time. This isn't just the sky. From that moment on, I can look up at a mountain now, and I get this like weird, almost like half trippy feeling. I mean, they're all amazing. They all have their own little thing that goes on with them. But the changing of perspective is really beneficial to people that have addictions. Like, apparently people that smoke cigarettes, like, they'll have a powerful mushroom trip and they don't have any desire to smoke cigarettes anymore. It's a really common experience. Drug addicts, and, even people that probably have other weird addictions, like gambling addictions or sex addictions. I think for a lot of people, they get trapped in the momentum of the life that they're in. whatever it is. And sometimes psychedelic trips, or sometimes for people it's just a near-death experience. You almost drown, and you don't drown. You get out of there, and you're like, holy shit, I got to rethink my whole life. And it just changes who you are. Like the reset. Because DMT lets you know, like, I get it. You think that in the context of humanity and civilization and your interpersonal relationships that you have with other beings, that what you're saying is important. But it's not.
Yeah.
And here's evidence that it's not. Here's evidence that nothing is important. And whatever you do that makes this thing that you think is important, whatever you do that makes that fucked up, stop. Stop all that. Stop all that craziness. Whatever you're doing that's causing you anxiety, whatever you're doing that's causing you too much objective thinking, too much interviewing yourself and going over the thoughts and like, why am I doing that? Why am I still smoking? Why am I still eating shitty food? Just stop doing all that, because that's a mess. That's a mess. You don't need that. And it just made me look so foolish. When you're alone with your thoughts, you get an idea of what your thoughts actually are. If you live your life just acting constantly on the momentum of other people's expectations, of you wanting to be liked by these other people, you can run into a trap, and you set up a life that you didn't really want. You're fucked. You're trapped in this situation where you have a mortgage, you've got credit card bills, you've got student loans you have to pay, you have a bunch of shit going on that you have to continue to feed. And all that, and especially if you have a family and you have to feed them, oh my goodness, then you're fully locked in. You can't take any chances whatsoever. And oftentimes people make the mistake of getting stuck. We don't have to have fast food workers. We don't have to have people who work shit jobs. We don't have to. We just need to figure out how to restructure society so everybody somehow or another plays a part, has something to contribute, has something to share. I mean, that's what a real society is supposed to be like. I give you some coconuts, you give me some fish. We make a deal, and you do it back and forth and left and right. Your life is certainly some sort of a journey. It's certainly some sort of a journey. And we have to all be aware that when we're making journeys, we're not going to always make the right steps. And sometimes you have to back up and try again. And if you're in a position where you can't back up and try again, you've trapped yourself. And the system will set out honeypots for people to get trapped in. The system will set out the ideas of retirement, the ideas of the golden years, providing you benefits, providing you a healthy work environment. Why? Well, because they want people to work for them. They don't want people to realize their own dreams and escape. But that's a fucking pain in the ass. So you got to hire more people and train them, and they want to set it up so that you stick around. Stick around in some sort of an unsatisfying world. It's up to you to see that video game problem. I mean, if they really want to teach you how to be a good employee, how to, make a good living, that's you being a better person, being better at being a person, being better at managing your life is very important. They should be teaching kids how to think correctly, like early in school, and they should have discipline. What discipline is you have to do a certain amount, you have to do something, like do anything that's really hard, like whether it's swimming or archery or playing chess or doing jiu-jitsu. For kids, having something that's difficult to do is very important. They need to be pushed. We all go through hard times. We all go through depression. We all go through doubt and moments in your life where it's really fucking difficult and you're trying to figure out what the fuck your path is going to be. It's hard as shit. That is what makes you a person. And those difficult moments are what build your character. If you have no doubt as to what your future is going to be, you don't have ambition. A lot of ambition comes from fear. We need to figure out, like, now, today, what is, the best way to live your life? What is there's got to be ways where you can be putting forward the most positive energy. The right path to, like, being, like, a happy, healthy person is to do all the shit that we already know you're supposed to do. Take care of your body. Take care of your health. Take care of your mind, your stress. Meditate, be kind to people. We all know that. When you ask anybody, they know how to get by and to be the most evolved version of you that you can be. Do what you want to do with your life, right? Don't go be doing something you don't enjoy. Don't do something don't get locked into, a car that you can't afford and doing something crazy because you need the money. Don't do that. Do what you want. what the fuck is it that you really want to do? Because if someone else is doing it, you can do it, you know? I mean, everybody makes their own path through this world, but a lot of people don't follow the path that they really fucking feel pulled to. You know, just for whatever reason, they got negative programming. You know, when they were kids, someone told them they couldn't do it, or told them to take the shortcut, or take the short route. Here's the most important thing. The most important thing. Surround yourself with other people who are doing the same.
That's right.
They will inspire you.
And who hold you to the same standard they hold themselves.
Yes.
And are honest with you.
Yes. Very important. If I had a bunch of losers who were just smoking weed all day and sleeping, who knows? Who knows where I would be?